afternoon, internet friends. TJ Felony live GTA 5 session gonna be coming up shortly here. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. Got a good start going. Headed into what Tuesday evening. Some of these days just start to blur together, to be honest. But yeah, ain't got too much going on. Everyone over on UFO Twitter at space. I think there was a Tupa and Panda Space going. They had vetted. They were trying to use vetted now as a source that he's got information on the hate group. Well, that's gonna be saved for another video, but I got one coming for vetted. But right now, I got something I've been following for a little while, and it's the organized takedown of a guy on UFO Twitter named Disclosure Mike. And I knew this was coming. I think I made a video a while back and actually talked about this. These guys are going to get targeted next. Specifically Fessler and Disclosure Mike. And I've been documenting it. It's obviously an organized takedown to anyone who's not biased brain. But I got proof of it and all that, and I'm gonna break it down just like I always do, and most people will probably ignore it. But I want to first, before I pop over and show my some of the stuff I've collected, I want to talk about like how we kind of got to this point, because sometimes when you put everything out on a timeline, it kind of clicks. And this first off, I'm doing this live. This is my intro for my stream. So I feel like I do these things better live, like when I shoot from the hip and just kind of roll with it. Sometimes they go better, sometimes they don't. But I do all this live, and I also think it breeds authenticity. You know, there's no lying when you're kind of shooting from the hip and rolling. You're being real. And so let's start when I recognized, okay, this is going to be the next target for the Tupa Crew Hate group. Um, there was a space a while back, okay? And I'm not going to have all the edits up right now. If you're watching now, you're going to have to watch later on YouTube when I go back and record it. But there was a space where Fessler and Disclosure Mike held it, and they had me and Darren and everyone in there. And basically, they were the first to kind of openly say there's obviously wires are getting crossed here. There's a hate group operating on UFO Twitter, but it's not who everyone's pointing out. They were the first to talk about this in a space, and they had a couple spaces actually, and they were popular. They were even topic based, like they weren't all about Lou Crew and all that crap. They stayed on topic because they're both really intelligent guys when it comes to ufology and all that. Well, I commented right then, like, if you guys continue to have spaces, you're going to start to get targeted. Shortly after that, there was an episode of Disclosure Tonight, and this was when they were officially targeted for group harassment and basically be taken down and boot and kicked out of UFO Twitter. That's the end goal, is that they either leave voluntarily or that you're just so toxic and everyone that your word is shit. Well, there was an episode of Disclosure Tonight, and Darren went on there and talked about the Tupa Crew hate group and how everything's kind of flipped. This Lou Crew that everyone talks about being so dangerous is just a small handful of people, like maybe three or four. The UFO Twitter community's been awful to. They have no real power other than the ability to just speak the truth like this. And the real hate group is this Tupa Crew, Red Panda Koala. They're the ones weaponizing people, weaponizing newbies, weaponizing people that have poor mental health, and crash test dumbing them on people. Anyone who goes against their narrative gets targeted. And they had this episode of Disclosure Tonight, and when I do my edit, I'll put a couple screens from it up, and At that moment, the gears started turning in Tupa land. Uh, they started talking in DMs. They started mobilizing. We gotta destroy these guys. We gotta make sure they don't get any momentum on UFO Twitter. Well, they had some spaces. They had a few spaces, and immediately they were hit with the episode where they talked vaguely about basically saying if you run around fucking with people for a living, eventually it catches up to you. Well, the Tupa crew, Red Panda Koala, tried to remember, turn that quote. There was something they said on Disclosure Tonight that you could take it one way, you could take it another way. It was vague. I didn't take it as any kind of threat of any way, but of course they did, and they tried to cancel them with this. Okay, oh, they're threatening Tupa and Panda. We all gotta protect Tupa and Panda, even though they Tupa and Panda platform UFO Shane, who openly tells people he's gonna shoot them in the face. Like it's selective outrage constantly with these people. Well, anyways, they tried canceling Mike and Fessler with this. These guys are dangerous. They're threatening Tupa and everything. It didn't work. It kind of fizzled. People bitched and talked about it for a little bit, but Fessler and Mike handled it like adults, and they came in the spaces. They talked about it. They explained what they meant. They took criticism, and it fizzled. It burned out. And it didn't get them canceled from UFO Twitter. So that was the first attempt to cancel them from the Tupa crew. They always try something kind of nice, like selective outrage or whatever first, and then next is when they start getting dirty. If that doesn't work, then they start going low blows, like Red Panda Koala and Logan holding a space, saying, making up things like I had a kid with a 15-year-old. Like if they get frustrated, then come the memes and the attacks, and that's what you're seeing now is the memes and the attacks, portraying him as obese, and the fat guy falling over on the wheelchair and all this stuff. And a lot of people, well, it's funny. It's just funny, dude. Don't you have a sense of humor? It's funny until it's happening to you. And when this is part of the selective outrage thing also. Well, maybe I thought the KMF jokes about non-cred were funny. If we're gonna play that, y'all canceled me for that shit. So it's funny until it's happening to you, and it's one of their buzzwords, which I couldn't think of what it was earlier. Group group hate or hate swarming, I think, is what it was. It's what I'm about to show you is a perfect example of hate swarming. And whether you agree, disagree with the guy, whatever, they claim their biggest claim to try to cancel Disclosure Mike right now is that he lied about working for the NYPD. That he talks about on Disclosure Tonight that he works with the NYPD and all this stuff, and that's all fake. So they're basically trying to accuse him of similar to like stolen valor type stuff. And I'm gonna walk you through what I've learned so far with this organized campaign against him, and it's all built on bullshit. There's no facts. It's all just one guy's opinion. It all stems from one guy's opinion that they're basing this whole thing about Disclosure Mike lying about ever being a cop on. And yeah, let's jump over, and I'm gonna show you the evidence I've gathered. So, I put all this stuff up, and I'm just gonna say I could have. There was like hundreds of these. Like these guys had been badgering this guy at a level that I've probably never seen before, and a lot of it is these new guys. This data phenomenon guy right here with the get well soon card. He's all about trolling this guy for the Tupa crew. And if you look, it's the reason what I did is I grabbed the ones that were important to show what I'm this what I'm trying to paint, the what I'm trying to express. And what's interesting about this data phenomenon guy is whenever he harasses Disclosure Mike, he actually tags the the goons in the hate group. Look, he tags Tupacabra, Red Panda Koala, even tags Carl for whatever reason. And this is because he wants credit for it. He wants to get, for them to mention it in the space, and he's doing this to please them. And you'll see they even say Tupa started this whole thing. Um, uh, this one right here, okay, and this is what happened. I encountered these guys harassing Mike, and it was the NYPD thing, and it was this Alex guy and this data phenomenon guy, and I started kind of digging in on it. Like, well, how do you know? Like, unless you know this guy's full name, unless you like, how are you guys sure the Mike is lying and was never an NYPD officer? And what I learned is Alex right here says, and he did say this stuff. It was confirmed, but we're not sharing sources. Well, his source is this guy up in the upper left-hand corner. This guy named John Frederickson. He's a sergeant, and he's a retired sergeant in the NYPD or some shit. And that's what all of this is hinged on, is this one person, John Fredericks, who most likely is a sergeant in the NYPD. He seems to check out. But today, I dug in on him, and I got him to straight up admit that he has no proof of this. This is all based on a feeling. Um, like, oh, I can tell, like, if someone's lying about being a cop. There's no evidence or anything, and he even tries to imply at one time that he does have evidence, and he doesn't. There's no evidence, or there's because I'm about to show you why he doesn't have any evidence of this, and he can't. But he implies to at one time, like saying, I don't want to dox him, but I could. He doesn't have jack shit. He talks about how it's a crime. Well, wouldn't you want this guy to face justice then? Why wouldn't you post that? And you can also post it without doxing the guy. There's a such thing as blacking out. Just show me what proof do you have the Mike Disclosure was never an NYPD police officer. And here's another one. This Matt DeWhite guy, he's always giving him a shit too. And it's the same thing. It's all hinged on this one jerk off. And oh, look, here's even a Heather Birdie one. Heather Birdie jumped in on it. Dink dink, and the biggest bitch award goes to Mike Disclosure. Look at all this. So there's 4 or 5, and for each one of these people, I could have posted probably 20, 30 memes, just shit posts, whatever. I could have went for 2 hours on it. Look, even Marketing Monkey's getting in on it. Bigfoot Disclosure Diaries. You know why all these people are doing this? It's because they're all in the same Twitter spaces. They're all in Tupa and Red Panda Koala's hate spaces, and they're organizing harassment. They're encouraging these guys. This new guy right here, he knows his account will grow if he attacks the right people, so he plays along. This guy right here, like it's all to please Tupacabra and Red Panda Koala. And when I do my edit, you won't see it right now, but I have more posts that I am gonna put up. There's one where they're straight up telling Tupa that, thank you, you started this movement. You inspired us to start harassing Mike Disclosure. They straight up say it. I told Panda earlier to Space, I commented what it said. I said, your new guys are talking too much, bro. Because they're just straight up giving it up that they're doing this for you. They're tagging you because they obviously want you to see it and thank them for attacking people on their behalf. Why else would you tag someone? This guy does it almost every time he trolls Mike Disclosure. He tags Tupa and Panda. He wants them to see it. That way, when next time they're in a space, and that's how you encourage these people to participate in an organized takedown, in an organized harassment campaign. And you don't have to DM them and tell them, go attack Mike Disclosure. This is how you do it. And this is the last thing I want to talk about. This guy keeps implying, this John Fredericks guy, he keeps trying to imply that he's done the research. The Mike, there's no way. And but then earlier today, I'll put it up when I do my edit. I got him in it to admit it was all just based on feeling. It wasn't. There's no database, and and then I did a little research on Grok, and look what I asked Grok. Grok, how many NYPD officers are there currently on payroll, and is there a database where a retired officer could check to see if specific name was an NYPD officer? As of 2025, the NYPD has 35,000, damn near 35,000 officers. This guy thinks he knows every single person that is not just the is, but ever has been an NYPD officer. It's the size of a small state. You know how absurd that sounds? And right here, there is no comprehensive public database listing all former NYPD officers due to privacy restrictions. For verification, served a freedom of a FOIA. He would have to do a FOIA to find out. It says right there, Freedom of Information law request directly to the NYPD. So, unless this guy, and I asked him, well, you would need to know Mike's full name then, right? Do you know Mike's full name? Because you would have to know that. And I don't think he does. I think they're full of shit. And I think if this guy had proof of it, he would have posted it. I honestly do. And that's gonna be my final probably my final thesis on this shit. I don't know if Mike Disclosure was really an NYPD officer. I don't I don't have the ability to know that. It's the internet. I don't know Mike. I've talked to him. He seems like a pretty intelligent, honest guy. If I had to guess, I would say he was an NYPD officer at one time in his life, and these guys are just talking out their butthole. But I don't know that for sure. I know that guy is is making allegations against someone without proof of anything. It's just based on his feels. And what's happening is these other guys, let's see, data phenomenon, John, Alex. I don't know. This Alex guy, that's all he does is shit post. So I thought Alex was one of the Tupa crew minions on a sock. Because he only seems to pop up to terrorize people. I've never seen him talk in a space. If anyone has seen this guy talking in a space, let me know. But dude, I could have posted 100 from him alone. Specifically about Disclosure Mike. And you can't tell me that's not an orchestrated, organized hate swarm takedown. Then what is one? If this isn't an organized takedown, what is one? You got all of the Tupa crew here. Bigfoot Diaries here. That's one of Tupa's buddies. They all pal around in spaces. They're just doing it from different accounts, but it's a hate swarm. That's what a hate swarm is. And like I said, this guy, unless Grok's full of shit right here, there's no database where even a former officer can just search a name and find out if someone was a police officer or not. It doesn't exist. So unless this guy did that, the whole FOIL process, what it says, Freedom of Information law request, he's full of shit. So I guess what I'm asking him would be proof that he did that process. That would be my if he did that and has the results, why didn't he show them though? Why would he let these people not be sure? Why wouldn't you post the proof? You ain't got you can redact the name. This guy's a fucking liar. This John Fredericks, he's a liar. And all these guys are following it based on his word. This right here, Alex, that's his source. John Fredericks is his source. You guys are fucking terrible, man. And it's even worse to sit over there and point the fingers about what, three or four or five guys doing that when you have an army of hundreds doing it. If these guys get called out and exposed, there'll be new ones that'll sweep in and do it for you tomorrow. But yeah. So, yeah, my final interpretation, I can't vouch the disclosure Mike isn't it was an NYPD officer. I don't know that for sure, but I know that guy is talking out his butthole. That John Fredericks guy, and I think it's important that people recognize that when they hear this bullshit, call it out. Ask them how they know. It's all it's all based on this guy's feelings. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and jump over and play GT online. Thanks for watching. If you wanna support me financially, so I can kind of keep an eye and make sure more people don't get hate swarmed and ran out of the community, buymeacoffee.com/TJFelony. And yeah, this will be edited and up on YouTube a little later today. I'll probably do some kind of intro, and I will see y'all next time. Thanks for watching.